Welcome back, everybody. Just knocking out some dailies, and I have just logged in the first time. Noticed this morning, and I bypassed it because I didn't have my camera set up, unfortunately, but I was immediately loaded into the shop. I was not loaded into the world screen or in town where I am. I was just immediately loaded into the bundle screen, so I grabbed my free daily login reward. Other than that, I have done nothing else. I don't recall that ever happening. Maybe it did, and I just didn't notice it for special bundles or whatever it may be. So I do need to do Battlegrounds just to keep up with my badge. It is unsure at this point if the season end that we're getting that's coming up is actually just going to cut everybody off and you are where you are with your rank. So I'm trying to amass games. I've mentioned it before. I'm doing so at the sake of my own performance. I'm just queuing games nonstop just to boost my badge. I'm doing so still without Scornbeak. I'm doing so at times that aren't ideal for me, when I'm tired or when I'm just kind of been playing too much and lacking some focus, whatever it may be, as I'm also doing Diablo 4, as many of you know. So not having full attention. I'm literally just playing for the sake of the badge at this point. Now, if they remove the badge aspect from the Battlegrounds altogether, well, at least I made an effort to try to make sure that I was covered if in case they didn't. I won't be that heartbroken. I'll feel worse if I didn't do Battlegrounds and got a worse badge. So we are just kind of doing it and being hopeful, I guess. It really makes no sense to me for them to remove it, but that's another topic, and I mentioned that in another video. And honestly, Battlegrounds are really nobody's favorite topic at this point, or very few people, I should say. I think there's less people queuing than ever, so we really don't need to harp on BGs. The matchmaking is a disaster. It's showing no signs of improvement. Maybe this update will bring it, but for today, other than queuing the Battleground for the daily, or perhaps doing a few just for the sake of the badge, we will largely ignore it. So we're going to be getting more information on Challenge Rift seasons as well, and I'll be curious how this is going to be implemented. Reason for that is we kind of have weekly resets with Challenge Rifts, right? They already clear the leaderboard for solo rifts, and monthly they clear them for teams. In general, the team leaderboards are really kind of reserved for the whaliest whales. You need extremely high CR, you need really high resonance, because you aren't just gated by the combat rating, you're gated by the amount of damage you can do as well. So this is a factor. It's very difficult to get on those boards, especially when people occupy more than one spot per bracket, say 2s, 3s, or 4s. It just makes the competition for them even more stiffer and the space more limited. So I don't know if the new season is kind of an attempt to maybe open up more crystals or open up more spots. I honestly don't have any info yet. I'm hoping to have a lot of info. In fact, I would be thrilled, and I say this from time to time, that, you know, it's not just me, but as a content creator, I work best with information. So the more information I can get, the more I can speculate, the more I can kind of discuss, the more I can kind of get the wheels turning, not just for myself, but for everybody who's kind of listening, and get comments from the viewers and the community. And that's really where we kind of come up with these ideas and things that are good, things that are bad, and get feedback. So I hope for a lot of information when this gets released, and I would love to do a lengthy video for me. And I know that most times a 5-minute video might seem lengthy for me, but in general, I would be thrilled if I could do a 30-minute video with all the information. Are we going to get that? I don't know, but if there is enough information, I would love to do that. So see what we get so that we can discuss it and so forth. But until then, we're just kind of sitting in the dark, twiddling our thumbs, have no idea. I don't have any information on the major update other than that we already know Shadow Knight's coming sometime next month. Don't know anything about the abilities, don't know anything about the main stat now, aside from it being strength in the data mine. But I was told by Datamine ARPG, who I have mentioned many times in this channel. In fact, I just mentioned them in D4 as well, for some incredible work that they found up. But Datamine ARPG said it's very easy for them to change it from strength to int. In fact, they can basically just move the line of code that says the class or defines the class from the strength category to the int category, almost like a copy and paste. They can literally just slide it over. So don't take its position right now to be 100%. Unsure. I think it would be really odd to have 5 strength classes, 2 int classes, but I thought it was odd to have 4 strength classes and 2 int classes as well. So it is what it is, and time will tell. No leaks in terms of set gear. A lot of people have been asking for Strengthen in to be merged as well, and no info, no feedback on that. I think that these stats made sense when the game first came out, and you had to you wanted to farm. If you wanted to swap, then there was kind of a time investment to change, get re-geared up. However, the longer this game goes on, at this point, we have people like myself over level 750 in terms of Paragon. So kind of refarming is less and less appealing as time goes on. I think that this is kind of normal, right? You're willing to put more time in when the game is fresh, and as time goes on, it may dwindle to some degree. So I don't think that this is totally unreasonable. There are some people who like the grind, enjoy doing it, and it's difficult to kind of take that advantage from them. So there's absolutely both sides here. I made the mistake of picking up these quests and not looking at which ones I had. Remember, you can reroll bounties. That's a tip I showed in a video a while back, and several people were baffled. They had no idea you could do that. But you can actually, there's a reroll feature on the bounty board that if you don't like one of the bounties, you can change it, and you can do so for so many per day, and it's very helpful for things that are not good. And Stormpoint has a couple of bounty quests that I would personally skip, so I should have checked them before. I could go back and abandon the quest if I want, but at this point I'm just going to suffer through it and do it. This one is obviously not bad, as you can tell. This one's not bad, and this is probably the worst of them, and honestly it's not terrible. It just has a low drop rate for what you need, but overall, since you only need 5 of them, it's not terrible. So I'm actually okay with all of these ones I have. Of course, I'll say that and get 5 cages, hopefully, right off the bat. Nope. And as you can see, still on Demon Hunter, still looking for Scornbeak. I've made this mistake once before. I said I would not make it again in terms of lingering on a class, waiting for an essence, because there's no telling. I one time waited a couple of weeks after I was kind of through everything else. And I'm not really lingering on Demon Hunter per se. For the essence. In fact, I've just kind of stayed on it because it's been convenient as I'm playing another game and covering another game at the start. Demon Hunter is really good for just logging in and knocking out my dailies. So that's why I've stayed. Obviously I would be hopeful to get Scornbeak so I could cover that as well. However, I'm telling you, if I do not have it by the end of this week, I will absolutely be changing just out of boredom, because I just enjoy the game more by swapping around classes. So this will be my final week as Demon Hunter no matter what. But hopefully I get it so that I can cover some stuff. If not, I will probably ask somebody to get me some video and cover some of the builds and so forth, or maybe I'll bring them on for a guest appearance as well. I have my co-leader Ludro, who's volunteered many times to offer with some content, who plays Demon Hunter, so I can arrange something with him. And also, he's going to be leveling A Mother's Lament. I don't know what rank it's up to right now, but he's actively leveling one, and we're going to do some testing with that when he gets it up to rank 10, and we'll be showing off everything we find for that. So I know there's a lot of interest in that gem at the moment, and I have not been ignoring it. I am just waiting for him to level it up, and then we'll go from there. Hopefully that will be in the next day or so. And you can see just kind of chipping away at bounties at the moment. I will also knock out my Ibans. I will need to do a few daily dungeons. I've been running Cavern of Echoes, but that should have reset this morning, so I'll have to see what is the bonus dungeon and kind of go from there. So I'm going to grab these orbs, and then I'll turn my Bestiary in. Hopefully everybody capped their battle pass with the trick that I gave with Ashava last week, and the shortened week, since we did not have a full battle pass week. Today is Monday, which means my warband will be doing purges, so I don't need to really worry about my battle pass today. In fact, I obviously have the full week, but in general, the purge gives a lot of battle pass points, so I can kind of see where I end up after the purges are done later this evening and go from there. I think I'm just going to port at this point. Inventory full and the Bestiary. May as well hand those in. Made a video talking about the update to the Bestiary where you have an increased chance of getting a page on your first turn in. I had zero luck up until that point, And literally from the day that I made that video, I've had incredible luck with getting a new page on the first turn-in. So I've only got 5 pages remaining, and I notoriously have terrible luck with getting new pages. So I do the 3 bestiaries or more pretty much every single day. I would say like 99% of the days since the game came out, I have done that, and was still missing like 8 or 9 pages. You know, something that seemed unreasonable considering I did it daily, where some people that missed days only needed like a couple, like 1 or 2. However, my luck has dramatically changed for the better, and it's not even something that I particularly care about personally, but it was still kind of nice just to see them new pages and so forth. I got the Agronix one, which looked pretty cool, and I was thinking of using that actually as a thumbnail. Maybe I'll do it on this video as well, just because I thought it looked cool. And I like a lot of the artwork. I've made mention of this in some of the updates that they've had recently. It really looks like the artwork has almost gotten better. So I don't know what accounts for that, but I'm glad that they're still putting in a lot of time and effort and caring about aspects like that, and haven't ignored the game, so to speak, since the launch of D4. But it's really caught my eye that the artwork has been pretty spectacular lately on something just like updates. So it's been pretty nice to see. And maybe the info that we're getting shortly here, maybe we'll have some cool artwork as well with some of the stuff that they're leaking or teasing and so forth. Need to pay more attention to my character. I'm swinging and dashing into walls every other minute. So these bounties were not terrible. And I guess we will go try our luck in a BG, or maybe I'll clear out Ivan's. I think we can queue BG. It's almost 10 past. The morning queue, at least for really high resonance, can be a long queue, but if you wait 10-15 minutes or so, it usually clears up some. So while we're at the bounty board, this is the option to re-roll. So if you ever get a bounty you don't want, you can use this option. So the wolves isn't awful. You do have some competition, but it's not horrible, so I'll actually keep that. But out of these 4, I would say that that's the worst, just because there's competition. But you just click this and you re-roll. In this case, I get the desert crawler, so I wasn't horribly upset with the wolves, but just to show you how to do it, I decided to click it anyways. Could this be scored B? Most likely not. Can't tell from... No, it does not look like that. I think Scorn Beak has a fairly short pant leg, or maybe it's supposed to be a pair of shorts. I'm not really sure. Oh, I will queue up. Swap gear. So I have, the only thing I've changed since the last PvP video that I've shown from my own point of view or perspective is I have gone to Hangman's Gambit. This causes my daring swing to immobilize, and because of that, I have swapped off Escape and put in Vengeance for Coff's Unrelenting Fury. And the idea here is just to get more damage output. The Escape build is really nice. I think it personally has a higher skill cap. However, it's going to work best the stronger your character is, and since I don't have badges yet, since I had recently transferred, this build getting some more damage output kind of makes up for that, as opposed to being able to make or try to outplay and have potential in that regard. So that's the reason why I've swapped this up, and this has kind of become my standard build. I'll leave the build in the description below. I'm trying to upgrade a Citrine. I like the aspirant keys, obviously like the charms, and that's pretty much all I'm getting. So the purification shards are good as well, but I don't need them at this point. I've got a ton because I haven't found any upgrades. Same thing here. You can also buy rare crests if that's something you're running, and from time to time I do. However, at the moment I've just been hoarding hilts because I'm wondering if they're going to add new materials for the blacksmith if they inevitably add additional ranks, and then I can just buy those out every single day for some extra mats because they have good value when they first come out. We are on attack. No surprise to me. I actually, not counting yesterday, but the 3 days prior to that, I had 34 of 44 matches on attack. So I was actually logging them. This started off with a streak of 10 matches on attack. So this is obviously something that's intentional. It is not a coin flip whether you get attack or defense. There's no way, because mathematically at this point, I've had a streak of 13 twice, I've had a streak of 10, and I've had multiple streaks of 8. And the odds of this are just astronomical. So the fact that it happens so frequently tells me that there's something else, and that it's actually part of the algorithm perhaps in putting you on attack. And we saw this in some of the information that was gathered from people logging matches and life, damage, and other stats that I showed in the video. So I believe that since it favors the player, or the team, excuse me, on attack with slightly more favorable stats, since I personally have high stats, it's easy for them to place me on attack to kind of make that 4% difference. So the right guardian is open. So that will go down, even though they kind of attempted to defend the middle. We are able to get that right guardian down. No shield. Got hit by an invisible howlers. That's a new one for me. It got launched from off the screen, and I guess it just doesn't render, similar to the character models. Everybody in a line, thank you. Appreciate everybody being in a single file line there for me to just fire through. And I need to push on through here. Dodging the Wraith form. And we are at least moving, so going to be a somewhat interesting game nonetheless. I don't need Scorn's Beak, I just need an ult all the time. Double Necro, not going to be easy unless I get a stun. Thank you for the shield. That shield is going to be enormous. Huge, huge shield there, great play. So rather than grabbing the health globe there, I used the Daring Swing. I know that Necro plays Corpse Lance, so I wanted to make sure that I could avoid the damage. I need a peel by somebody again. I'm just running around the map. Everything on cooldown. This is going to be my cheat death. This is going to be the enemy, but I can draw them back to where they came just to try to stall them and at least maybe get this other side to push. Caught by the entire enemy team, and actually it's worked perfectly. So this idol is still pushing. I was able to draw them all back to the other side. And now I can go play and try to push them again even further back. I won't survive. Just take whatever I can, and again, just keep them away from here and let that side keep pushing. I'm drawing an enormous amount of aggro, basically. Their entire team is waiting and looking for me, so I can just be a distraction in this match if my team is capable of pushing without me or when they have the numbers advantage. So if I take 3 or 4 of the enemies, and my team can push 7v4, 7v5, why am I not hitting that guy? That's weird. Invisible pillar that I didn't catch, maybe? Gonna take this opportunity to bandage. What's going on in this BG? Not gonna give you a free bandage. So at this point I can help the other side if I want. Just clear out whatever I can. Team reinforcing, so I'm going to use that opportunity to dash back and bandage. And I want to continue to support this side. There's the shield, so about 3 more seconds here. And we could take that out. Now I'll rotate. So that's a popular build that we've been seeing more of, the horse, and then they wait till they dismount or until they need it. They drop off of the horse and pop the Conjuration of Light. It's super, super predictable, so you can kind of just play around that and use your cooldowns to kind of time when that Conjuration of Light is going to fall off. But immediately as they dismount, they pop the Conjuration. And there's a lot of Crusaders running that build at the moment. Need to rotate over. Sure wish I had a little more support here, but can't do much. 2 minutes might not be enough time, and we only have 21 deaths remaining. Managed to proc the Undying before they get in. Big kill on a barb, but again, I'm going to be 2v4 over here. And if my team can't push 6v4, this is the situation you get in. So like I said, the tactic was working early, but now that their enemy team is closer to defending the idols at the end of the run, it's not enough. My team can't push through 6v4 or 7v5, whatever the situation may be. But unfortunately, if I occupy multiple players, my team has to kind of get something done. Another invisible necro. So this guy is going to drop off and go immune. Yep, and failed to get it off from the knockback shot. And the barb is back here, so now we got to deal with the barb. Dodge another necro. Immobilize everybody in there. Get a bunch of kills. I won't make it out though. Cheat death. So I mean, this is literally like a 1v6 at this point after the people I've taken down, and the team is still just not pushing. No dot, unfortunately. So if the team can't push, I've got 6 people on me. It's just not going to happen. And this has been really representative of so many matches lately. And it just becomes, all that matters is the highest resonance player. It has nothing to do with skill here. It's just the BG matchup, the class compositions. And unfortunately, the lobby is just no insult to any of the players there. But if they cannot push against the other team, there's some sort of mismatch. Whether it's a resonance mismatch from side to side, or it's a class distribution balance. But obviously, my team unable to push with almost every player aside from myself on the other side when there's only 3 players there, so the other team can just send bodies in repeatedly to the idol. So that obviously needs some sort of adjustment, but it's just been neglected for the entirety essentially of the game has been out. And you can see that my win rate given all of those matches on attack is only at 50%. I suspect this will obviously increase as time goes on, and I'll go ahead and do couple more, just get my dailies in and try to knock out the rest of these bounties as well. But BGs obviously have some major problems at the moment. Less and less people are queuing because the matches like that are just generally unfun to play. It really doesn't matter. You cannot influence it in any manner. It doesn't matter how well you play. It doesn't matter if you're in the correct spot or using strategies to kind of outthink or outplay your opponent. None of it matters. All that matters is the class composition on one side versus the other. And if a team has the ability to push the idol forward or backwards if they're on defense, and the other team does not, nothing's going to happen. Another match here. Should be able to kill some enemies towards the progress. 0 enemies. See what we get on this. We managed to find defense. Not a great start. We have 0 melee in the party. I see 0 melee on my screen. There's a melee, 1 melee. So we have Crusader, That's what we have. We have one Crusader. We have no monks, no barbs, one Crusader. Enemy team has barb, Crusader, monk, Crusader, Crusader. I mean, do we not see a trend here? And just, we would have to vastly outpower them in terms of resonance, and I don't think we do. I could be wrong. I forget which Necro that is. There's a couple of them with blank names. Rogue King is high resonance. Dexecute is high resonance. So they have at least a couple of high resonance melee, and we will have an incredibly difficult time stopping them, especially if they push both sides. If they split push, we literally have no chance from the lobby. Nothing to do with the players in it. It's just that their comp is going to beat us, because we cannot stand in the idol and fight while they can stand on top of the idol or have the melee go in front and leave a range to push it ahead. Try to proc some cheat deaths if possible. And actually, this is fantastic. The longer they stay back there, and if we could trickle people in one at a time just to waste time, that would be advantageous as well. A big cheat death there on one of the whales. Looks like an invis wizard trying to jump by. We're going to manage a kill and just stalling. We've actually stalled for 30 seconds from when I even mentioned kind of holding them back there. So potentially things have gone in our favor. If they have the right comp, they're just unwilling to push forward, or they're farming kills in the backline. I'm not sure if kill count will matter for us in this game. I think it's going to be a time thing, unless they just stay right here and let me fire nonstop. In fact, I'm going to pop my ult just to spray away. Put a dot on him. That should be enough. Yeah. Knew they were going to charge at me. Good support by the Necro there covering for me. I need another peel, thank you. Getting some good Necro support there. Other side has been activated. Invisible Necro. And I need to clear up the other side. So you can see on the map here, the melee is pushing forward. I mean, I already know who that is. I don't have to get over there. That's going to be the two whales. Sure enough, it is. And what I need to do here is actually kind of ignore them and hope that my team can deal with them and get into the back line and pick off the people that are trying to push the idol. That works out in our favor, and now they're just going to res up and go to the other side, and again, that's going to be the Crusader and Barb. I already know that. Yes, a second Crusader there. So I just want to get up here. I can go back to the spawn. That's where the my swing got interrupted. And this is fine as well because neither side is pushing. So if I can get back here, this is giving them the longest distance to run back. And this is just a stall tactic. We are fighting this clock. This is not going to be a game that's won by kill count. I can tell you that, 3 minutes ago. This is going to be won by stalling them. Just getting in this objective as often as possible. Just preventing it from moving. I can't stay there forever because I'll die. But I can just frequently go in and just sit on it. And hopefully if my team alternates or staggers and does that over and over, or if the enemy team just walks out of it, that's our best chance. We need to hold this for 3 minutes. Gonna ignore them. Fire from the back. huge pull there. Almost seems like I wasn't in it and got pulled. All too common with Crusader Condemn. Need more support on this side. And this is the situation that I had referenced at the start of the game, is that their melee can just push us repeatedly back and nothing we can do. If they know it, I mean, they're just running into me nonstop. There's nothing I can do other than stall this. And I said that in the lobby, right? There's literally nothing my team can do. Other side is getting pushed in by the remainder of their melee. And we stalled this as long as we could, but I think we're going to actually lose this with probably under a minute left. They'll get into the hard phase, and since we're nowhere close to getting the number of kills needed, we'll just basically lose the game. I have to try something, so I go over to this side to try to clear it out, and the other side just walks in, no problem whatsoever. Now, did I know they were going to be overpowered over there? Yeah, absolutely. But I came over here because just continuing what we were doing was not working. So if I didn't try something, we were going to lose anyway. Hopefully have a cheat death here. Do not. And they will just walk this in. Nobody rotating. This guy's down. Not a single player rotating yet. Actually manages a kill from the cheat death. I think they're dying from the dot damage. And now, so, I mean, we go on like 20 seconds without anyone rotating. Surely they're going to support one or both sides again. Somebody waiting here. Down to 50 seconds. At least it was an exciting match. But as soon as they push into this idol, there is nothing I can do. I can immobilize them. Immobilize them again. And this is where I go down. Nobody in the idol for when I die. Was able to step out for a brief second because the enemy did. Managed to kill. Huge kill there. This has turned into a super exciting finish. Despite what I thought, I need to engage these people prior. I need to proc that shield. I do not have cheat death. I was hoping to immobilize him out of the circle. I managed to get a kill, double kill. Just need someone in the circle. Great play by the Necro again. You got to get back in the circle. And that will do it. Probably the best match I have seen from either side, attack or defense, the entire week. That is actually, I think we steal that one, tell you the truth, because all the enemy team had to do was push out at the start of phase 2. Remember when phase 1 ended? And I was like, we will take this. If they just want to stay back there and waste time, that's what's going to cost them the game, right? I mentioned how the game was going to come down to time and that they had the ability to push. And sure enough, they lingered in between phase 1 and phase 2, ate off over 30 seconds of the clock, and I bet they sure wish they had that 30 seconds now. Queue up one more and try to get my dailies completed. My bounties, that is. And I went back and forth thinking we were going to win, we were going to lose. There's a couple of times, and really, they should have split push, in my opinion, with the 2 high resonance melee. If they had put the Crusader on one side and the Barb on another, I don't think we would have been able to stop them because I would have had to repeatedly go back and forth. Still unsure if me rotating to my right to try to clear them out and allow the entire team to rotate over helped us or hurt us, but fortunately we managed to get a win. And there's always some uncertainty, right? Sometimes you just don't know if the play was correct or not because there's no way to go back and try it the other way. You just have to kind of remember what you did and how it worked out, if it worked out, and so forth. Don't want to keep everybody waiting for my bounties. I just wanted to pick up the loot that was on the ground. And something that, a lot of people do, especially if you came from something like MOBAs, is review your own gameplay, because that in a MOBA that would reveal the map. And reviewing your own gameplay by recording it and say, in this game, you can kind of slow things down and analyze them at a different speed, and you may find that helpful. I've been doing this with other people's video submissions, and I have a few more lined up that I'll get out. And as always, if you're looking to submit yours as well, you can contact me on Discord, and I'll leave my Discord info in the description below. And I'm happy to continue doing those. In fact, they've been a lot of fun, and it has a pretty large following for people that like to watch every single one. So it looks like our third match will be again on attack. And let's count. Looks like we have some melee. We have a monk, a barb, a crusader. For melee, they have a crusader, a barb, and a crusader. So both teams have something of a front line. I think we may have an advantage here. We'll see. Or we may just be unable to push. But this is a very wide lobby in terms of power, or loose matchmaking. There's a large discrepancy between resonance levels. Go ahead and clear the middle out and then rotate. See if the enemy is even going to engage us. They are, in fact, headed down here. Just shooting the Guardian down. Enemy just going to leave me alone to do so. And now I'm just going to go try and clean up everybody that's running. And hopefully we have enough down to push through right away. That would be huge. Don't really want to be on that barb. I'm just going to immobilize him. I'd rather push through faster. Hopefully that necro follows up there. We're through on the other side, so hopefully my teammate... Hopefully the teammate will activate the idol. Would be great so that I can kind of go up here. Somebody disappeared, probably an invisible necro. Just want to push back at this point. I don't want to overextend if I can help it. Slightly early shield, not horribly early, but I mean, the enemy didn't have a choice. I just meant in terms of getting to the objective. I want to make sure we continue to stay in the idol if at all possible. Caught off guard by the demon hunter, so I have to back up a hair. This shield should be wearing off momentarily. Like so. And now we're pushing the other side. We have to get past this bridge, at least on one side, so that they can't just run back and forth from side to side. Playing the Cloak of Shadows, I have to keep that in mind. So that's probably what went invis on the map. Everybody rotating, except for one. Immobilize them and allow me to grab the health globe. There's a little trick there if anybody's running that build. And hopefully get past this bridge, because the bridge right now is our biggest hindrance. We're unable to get past this spot, and they are able to just run back and forth. Now if I can get this guy to stand in the idol, I can try to take on these three. Again, using Immobilize there. Absolutely huge play there. Enormous, and we're going to have one more here. They are still pushing. So the fact that they were running in that aggressively tells you that it's either a melee or a higher resonance player. Or somebody just doing whatever, but typically that's kind of a good indication. Need to stay inside the circle, and I have lost my team. Good charge by the barb. Hopefully the barb stays in and I can go forward. A relentless. And we are through. Alright, was not expecting that easy of a push, to tell you the truth, based on the lobby. But some really good plays by the barb there towards the end. Just knowing where to be and when to move, supporting me with a charge, allowing me to get some damage out and stay alive. And then staying in the idle, allowing me as the range player to move and get up onto the target rather than me being in the objective and just tanking the damage. The barb was willing to take the damage themselves. And that was Crixus, so got to give props where it's due there. I'm really just jumping over, trying to immobilize and keep things occupied. Hopefully we go down here. If not, we will res up and try again. Another exciting game. It was not quite as even as I had hoped for in terms of power from one side to another. I'm not 100% familiar with all the lobbies because the player pool has just dramatically changed and who gets in which game has varied. Also, I have some stuff coming up. We're waiting to see if there's any Battleground changes in the update that we're going to be told about. But Gilgamesh, who is 3,000 resonance and now playing a wizard, used to play a Crusader, if anyone's familiar, almost always gets pulled up into the higher lobbies. Plays Crusader very well. Has transitioned to Wizard, and I actually think that Wizard is in the worst spot for 3,000 resonance. It's a super common question I get, but I've talked with Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh is going to kind of give me some insight of what he thinks playing Wizard at 3k resonance and the best ways to kind of win matches or aid your team and come out on top, essentially. So something to look forward for anyone who may struggle around that resonance rating as a Wizard, and that should be coming up in the next week, as long as they don't make drastic changes to the matches or anything like that. Just doesn't make sense to cover it if they're going to change everything around. So I'm going to finish up a couple more bounties here. Knocked my 3 games out. I still have to do a shadow contract. I'll still have to do raid the vault and whatever my third shadow task is, which is a challenge rift. So I will just clear out challenge rift 300, which I've already cleared and actually have higher combat rating now than before, so that won't be a challenge for me at this point. But as they add new rifts and so forth, we will tackle those as well. I think that overall that's all I kind of have for updates and exciting news and just general banter, so I will leave you here rather than dragging on for any longer. But wanted to get something out today, even though I don't have any info. The next video will be obviously covering the update, unless I get a topic before then or have time to squeeze in, say, a Battleground review or tower review, anything of that nature. But I plan to do as lengthy coverage as possible on the update, give you as much insight and info as I have or anything I can derive from it and so forth. So as always, thanks for taking the time to watch and have a great day.